3-week Galamsey ultimatum expires today. We'll revisit the Galamsey menace and find out strides made so far within this period. Also to come, government launches Planting for Food and Jobs program in Goso in the Bonoafu region. We'll link up with a correspondent on the ground where over 200,000 farmers are expected to benefit from the program. Coming up in business, we'll take you to Washington, D.C., where the Bretton Woods institutions have reviewed upwards global economic growth to 3.5. We'll get the details later. In sports, Cristiano Ronaldo scored his 100th Champions League goal as Real Madrid dumped 10-man Bayern Munich out of the UEFA Champions League. And on the foreign front, UK Parliament to vote on decision by Prime Minister for a snap election on June 8th. Those are our top stories this hour, and let's get into our first story now. On March 29, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources issued a 3-week ultimatum to end Galamsey. John Peter Amewu warned that all illegal miners who failed to stop the activities should be dealt with, made to face the full rigors of the law. Let's bring you a playback of what the minister said when he appeared on State of Affairs.
If you want to extract mineral resources, you go and you know exactly where the mineral resources is, and you go and pick it.
You don't go and find it.
You don't go and find it. Don't go and look for it. But these guys are looking for it. So they do this business of matra and makwe in my language. They go here, they didn't get it. I mean, and that is the extent of the degradation, destruction of the environment that we are seeing. What we want to do now is to introduce some minimal level of exploration. We on our own will spend some money to do some exploratory activity, identify where the resources are, and group these guys and place them there and monitor them to do it, because the gold is there, they will work and get the gold. We want to introduce a more sustainable approach.
Which is?
And that is what is going to come out with what we call the MMIP, Multilateral Mining Integration Project, which is going to follow the militant and the combat approach, which will come quite shortly. Okay, the MMIP is a more sustainable approach to see to again, you should get this clear. There are some small-scale miners up there that are working in an environmental friendly and sustainable manner.
Absolutely.
We've got no problem with them. Why can't other people do the same thing like these people are doing? Why can't they do it? They can do it. The reason being that because they want quick money, they don't want to do explorations, they don't want to go through the process, they don't want to be monitored. And that is why you see people placing this equipment, you know, on the riverbed, drilling down the I mean, what is happening cannot, it's total lawlessness. The new mining law, you know, the amendment to the mining law has introduced more stiffer punishment. And those punishments will need to be, you know, triggered to occur. And if those things are triggered to occur, of course, we will see that there will be some limit. Strict implementation and sustained combat and militant approach, as we've seen in the past.
Before then, the Progressive People's Party gave government a 3-month ultimatum to end the illegal activities of miners in the country, else they will drag government to the International Criminal Court for crimes against humanity.
You heard horrible stories of Ghanaians who were arrested back in China for cocaine deal here and there. And
are we dealing with a problem or we are paying back?
No, we are dealing with the problem. But you see legal thing they are doing. It's not payback at all. Look, there should be no emotions about it. The people are I come from Akemodan. When I was growing up, I saw the river, the base, the river bed with rocks there, clean from top, maybe 50 meters down. Now it's complete madness or mud. Yes, that you see, nothing. It's dwindling. It's becoming like a gutter. The whole river brim, Pra, is becoming like a gutter. So who should tell us that we are under threat? We are under an invasion. The first solution to this problem is to round up all these Chinese and take them away.
Well, in the wake of the fight, the Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners announced it has initiated moves to retrieve over 500 excavators from illegal mining sites in line with government's efforts to stop Galamsey activities in the country. The decision comes in the wake of this 3-week ultimatum given to illegal miners to stop the activities.
Executives of the Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners in a press statement announced the association has conducted extensive removal of dredges from major river bodies including the Brim, Pra, and Cobra and the Ofin rivers, mainly due to the pollutants introduced to the river bodies. The statement assured illegal mining that went on in most of the forest reserves have ceased due to constant interactions with the illegal miners. To add to this, over 500 excavators have been removed from most illegal mining areas with the help of the association's tax monitoring team and a task force in various mining districts. The small-scale miners noted government has not placed a ban on registered artisanal and small-scale sectors as perceived by sections of the public, but rather bring improvement in the sector. They entreated all illegal miners who have been affected to stay calm, since it is not the intention of government to deny them of their livelihoods, but for a total good of the country, and urged all to collaborate with the Land and Natural Resources Ministry and its agencies to ensure that illegal miners engaged in the practice find alternative livelihoods.
Let's speak a bit more about the subject of illegal mining activities in the country. Joining us via telephone is Emmanuel Enchi. He is Director of Operations for the Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners. Good morning, Emmanuel.
Good morning.
Let's first talk about the 500 excavators that you have been able to round up with the effort of through the efforts of your task force. Over what period did you do this? Which areas did you get these excavators from?
Yes, what we did after the minister made the announcement was we quickly organized a press call.
Hello, Emmanuel. Emmanuel, are you there? I believe we have lost Emmanuel over the telephone. We'll work the phone lines and raise him back and have that conversation about the 3-week ultimatum that expired for the small-scale or illegal miners, rather, to stop mining activities in the country. You recall also that a temporary ban has been put on issuance of licenses to small-scale miners, either through the efforts of the task force, a personal task force of the Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners. We know that about 500 excavators belonging to illegal miners have been rounded up in different parts of the country over this 3-week period. Emmanuel will join us in a bit. We'll have that conversation. Well, I understand Emmanuel is back over the telephone. Emmanuel, you were telling us a bit more about the rounding up of these excavators. Yes,
and so we had very frantic conversation with them and then engaged them and told them that, look, be encouraged to bring the excavators out of the illegal mining areas, because that is the only way that we can demonstrate to Ghanaians that you have Ghana at heart and you are not just that you are interested in destroying the environment, but you are just ready to work in any way the government will prescribe for you to do that. And they agreed with us. The majority of them brought out their excavators. Our task force and monitoring team went around the country. We went to Takwa, Kopong, through Asankagwa, the Eastern region, and then almost all the areas where mining was taking place. And then also for the dredgers, we just told them that, look, there is no-go area. Just come out, move your dredgers from the river bodies and all that. And you should see them, how ready they are to cooperate.
I see, like Emmanuel, but Emmanuel, what was the magic wand in your case, considering for a number of years now, government has been trying to get these illegal miners to stop the activities in the mining areas. What did you do differently? For the life of me, I can't understand or digest how you were able to have a conversation with the illegal miners to stop what they're doing. What did you do differently?
You will recall that what the association have been saying is, using brute force after these people is not the best solution. These are people, they are human beings, they understand issues when you talk with them. Last time I was saying that normally we mine side by side with them in the various communities. So we know them, and the association is very representative of all these areas. So what we did is a constant interaction with them. Let them have faith in the leadership of the association, telling them that, look, what the government is doing is not to ban small-scale mining at all. But then for you to move out of the illegal area, let us move in again and do a reclamation of those areas. And then after that, the government has promised that they will explore areas and know the mineralization of those areas and how viable it is for us to go into. And then let us issue licenses for people to go in and do proper mining there. This is a good news. But then you need to carry the message to the people for them to buy into the whole thing. And that's the strategy we adapted. And they have really bought into it.
So,
and
Emmanuel,
the majority of them...
They agreed to let go of their livelihoods in anticipation of a license at a time when government has put a ban on small issuance of licenses to small-scale miners. It sounds that perhaps these excavators belonged to members of the association who may have been involved in one illegal mining or the other. It sounds a little too easy, don't you agree?
Yeah, you see, like I said, it's about interaction. It's about letting the people buy into the idea. You know, when you ask somebody to stop illegal mining, you should be able to tell the person that, look, where you are doing the operation, it is not good. You're not properly regulated, and then at the end of the day, you can even cause problems to the nation. What we have to do is to bring out the machine. Let us find a way of going to reclaim those lands, and then the government is also interested in exploring new areas where even the mineralization and then the gold deposit there are even higher. And that's what the government is telling us.
Very well. So let's go.
Communicating this message to them.
Indeed.
And they bought into it. I must say also, hello?
Great. Now,
yes,
which areas did you round up these excavators from?
Takwa, Wasen Kropong, Asankragwa, and part of Eastern region, along the western border where the mining activities takes place. You know, when you move all the way from Ashanti region through Ayamfori to Takwa, those lines, all those areas, yes.
I see. And so if we went to these areas, will the rounding up of the excavators translate into not seeing illegal mining activities there?
As we speak, if there will be any illegal mining activities along these areas that we have patrolled and monitored, it will be very few, and those people would have been somewhere that we didn't see them. As we speak, almost, I would just say, this is not scientific, but I would say that about 80% of the illegal operators along these routes that we applied and those that we are speaking with have withdrawn their excavators. And then what we must also acknowledge the fact that they are also going to lose the source of their livelihood. So we are still in constant engagement with the government, trying to make sure that as early as possible, whatever plans that is there in place, we can quickly reassure these people before they start getting change of mind.
I see. So where are these excavators at the moment?
We sent some pictures from...
We've seen the pictures, but where are they? Yes. When you rounded them up, what did you do with them?
Well, what we did was we did not seize the excavators. We asked them to bring those excavators from the illegal mining area and then pack them to where they want to pack them to.
Oh,
where we were able to tell them areas they can pack, they pack them. That's where we had a lot of excavators there. I mean, taking photographs of all those areas. And then possibly we need to add the towns that we rounded them up to as well, so that you can see clearly for yourself. And these are pictures that our monitoring task force actually took along those lines that I've told you. The mining areas from Eastern region down through to Kumasi area down to Takwa, that stretch where mining activity is very prevalent. That stretch, yes.
So, Emmanuel, you spoke with the people. They agreed to bring out the excavators from the mining areas. However, as a nation, or even as an association, you are not in possession of these excavators. How sure are we that in the next few hours, in the next few days, few months perhaps, these people will not go back there and mine the area?
Yes, I initially told you that the way to go is dialogue. The way to go is to let these people buy into the idea that it is not proper to do illegal mining, which tends to damage the environment and destroy our water bodies. That is the way to go. Using brute force seizing the equipment. It is not the way to go. We've seen it in the country before.
I
didn't
get
work.
that. I get that, Emmanuel. But how are you making sure that beyond the dialogue, you have given the excavators to them, you decided not to use brute force or involve national security in any way? How are you going to make sure that they do not go back to their old ways?
Well, what is left now is for the minister to come out with the plan. The plan, because the way they are describing the plan, we feel like something that we can work with. You know, a plan that is aimed at exploring areas where mineralization is high so that members can go in there. A plan that also provides alternative livelihood for those who might not necessarily get land to mine on again. I mean, this is a very good plan. So what we need is the minister to roll all this plan out, and then we can also assure that these Galamsey operators have actually bought into it. Those that we have engaged, and then they are leaders. They've bought into this idea. We just need to move fast as a nation and make sure that we are able to do this mining in a more environmentally friendly manner without the unwanted environmental damage and water bodies.
Just a quick one, Emmanuel. The 3-week ultimatum given illegal miners expires end of day today.
Yes.
Do you think that it's enough to have we managed rather to wrap up illegal mining activities in the country, or perhaps there's more to do?
There is more to do. You see, after the excavators have moved out of the bush, what do we do to the open pits there? There has to be a consistent plan to reclaim all those pits. Then after that, the people who have lost their livelihood, what are we doing to them? The number is so overwhelming. What are we doing as a nation? So we need to get to work fast and make sure that these people get a replaced livelihood. That's the most important thing before they are even tempted to go back into that business again.
Emmanuel, I'm grateful for your time. Thank you very much. Emmanuel Irinchi Nchi is Director of Operations with the Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners. Those questions he posed are those we'll pose to the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources in subsequent broadcasts here on GH1 television. Right now, let's take you to the Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi, where traders whose shops and goods were destroyed in a fire outbreak that ravaged parts of a 3-story building at Roman Hill close to the Kumasi Central Market have still not been compensated. The drivers have expressed reservations about the issue and want the authorities to act immediately. Let's speak to Isaac Bediako. He's with Ultimate FM in the Ashanti region. He's joining us live from there. Good morning, Isaac.
Good morning, Kamini.
Now, what else can you tell us about this development story?
Yes, Kamini, as I speak with you from the Kumasi Central Market, victims of last 2 weeks' fire outbreak are yet to receive any form of compensation from management of latest form whose vehicle caused this fire outbreak at the Central Market. If you recall, last 2 weeks, I went to Kumasi Manshia Divisional Police Command and the MP for Subin constituency, Eugene Entry, after meeting with the police command and management of latest form company, assure the traders that the company is ready to take full responsibility of the fire that destroyed their goods at the Central Market in the form of compensation. And so today we are here at the market to find out from the traders either they have received any form of compensation. But then when I came to the market center, the information I'm picking is that since they submitted a list of over 40 people to management of latest form and the Manshia Divisional Police Command, they are yet to receive any form of assistance from the company that vehicle caused this fire. But apart from that, they've done their best to get in touch with the management to hear whether they are going to receive this compensation today or tomorrow. But in all these attempts, it has failed. Currently, I can also see that the 3-story building structure with 3 shops were destroyed by the fire, including a bank. The lawyer for the victims is here with a group of civil engineers doing assessment on the building to know the length of damage that the fire has caused to the bank and the 4-store buildings, whilst the traders are back on the street of selling. Mahu say me ba ha no pai moda so wo kwan no ho a moton nema no ye promises ye be mamu sika bi na mo de astati bi no ye mpata sika bi a company ka so de be mamu mo nsa kan sa mpata
be ba cho ye nsan kan ye ntibi tina fie ye ne ye ma ye ka se ye tina fie da kokora na ye tin pa mai nti aba bo sia na ye kwa akwaje na ye da ba beta se de be so benya kakra na ye mata de ne bi ye nsan kan
na ye ka se mo ntwetwe din no mo wo twere wudin
be ba cho am bi twere mi din
it is here who share any more kosi breben na mo nsa ka sa compensation a company no e promising
so ye call police station obo pe ni ba ko ba ye kura ni eni no so ono ale be ni ho adi kire na e busa ni say ska no e be ba da ben ono ka che say ono tibi nche da say e da say na be ba na emom na ye de e nche ye say manager ye say ye ni obi a nka mo abunim ye meta gata ye no ya say ye ma meto ma de so ye ni sa ye bi mi tuo me hwan kura mi mi kura wa ya me hwan kura mi eti aba sa mbi da ba bi aba mbosia ene ye kwaje ye na da betan ti ye sram omo ye mu wa na kakra bi omo de bebre omo famre nya sa de a ba mbosia na ye tiku mu ya no.
This is one of the victims explaining to us that when the fire incident happened, they went to Malaysia Divisional Police Command and management of latest form came them to assure them that they are ready to take full responsibility of the fire incident that destroyed their goods and that they were going to pay them some kind of compensation. But as we speak now, they haven't received any form of compensation from the company. So they've gone to banks to secure for loan to start afresh. And that is why they are back on the streets selling. Some of them tells me that they even have children that they are paying their fees. So they cannot stay in the house, wait until the compensation comes before they can start a new business. That is why they see it as important to go afresh. Ora, me who say when I bema oda emana no me to police station so far anamon ben na motu afa mo issue.
So far no anamon to ana any say right now no me padodo no antime ma me ni bra ba kuna e di ene mo no ono kwa se oyale ontime ma saka otime ba dia na ka me na ko police station ona ka ko busa DBC. Ever since there no ye hu obia so ma ye won be kan bibia so nkyere
na MP na odi agina mu se munya wotre ye betue sika na mama makọ no nchen ene na akọtwe nkọma bisa ne se MP da ben ye sika na eba
right now no oni a no on crime MP no oni a Accra nti me hu de ABC ti se call back to police station e busa omo ene betimi hu de ebe ye.
Well, me ebedu ha no pai. Ma hu se baby amotena ya eja no ebedi mawu no. Masan ya ba betena ha. Ekwan moche mu mienu na mu didwa ewo kwan no mu. Me fi se ka na ka mu tomone man ewo baby a enye kwan mu a enkasa accident wi ensi. Ensi amasan ba kwan no. Sa accident for baby ma den na mo besan ye.
Right now dem ni ekwan no. E man na eton normal we kwan mu. So enye mi right se bia mepa mo na men pamomo because me ne right me ne say right no ke me phone was right no me dem me inside to all Naija ne betu me ti omo mo ton no mo we kwan there I don't know anything about them.
Wow, so Kemeni, these are victims of the Central Market fire outbreak, explaining to us how far they've gone with an attempt to secure compensation from Latest Food Company Limited after the fire destroyed their goods in the Central Markets.
Isaac, thank you very much for the update. Isaac Bidiakon is with our sister radio station, Ultimate FM, in the Ashanti Regional Capital, Kumasi. We'll go further from the Ashanti region into the Bonafo region, where President Akufo-Addo will later today launch government's planting for food and jobs program in Goso in that region. Some 200,000 farmers there are set to benefit when the program rolls out. In the 2017 budget, you remember, the government earmarked 560 million cedis for the initiative, expected to create over 70,000 jobs. Meanwhile, the Minister for Food and Agriculture, Dr. Owusu-Efriye Akoto, has indicated that the program will cover 2.5 million farmers nationwide after the pilot process. Let's speak to our correspondent in the Bonafo region, Michael Infum-Sapong, who's joined us via telephone. Good afternoon now, Mike.
Good afternoon, Kamini.
Well, Michael, has the president arrived in the region?
Quite about minutes ago, he arrived here. The program is taking place at the Nana Botompra Park in Gosu here. A while ago, chief from the Bon Afro region cited the Bon Afro region, president of the Bon Afro region House of Chiefs, that the Naya Caprete is around Alan Tremantin, and a whole lot of people are right here. A while ago, I spoke to the 2014 National Best Song, and that's Mr. George Asamoah Amankwa. He tells me that the initiative, Plan for Food and Jobs, is a good initiative from the government, and he believes that they should go down the local level. He believes that if they're able to do this, the program will be a success.
I see. Now, what are the expectations of farmers in the Bono Afro region who are to benefit from the pilot edition of the Planting for Food and Jobs program?
In fact, they are very happy. A while ago, I spoke to one woman, Rebecca Asamoah. She's from Atonie in the Pinyani municipality. She tells me that it's a great opportunity because at times, certain even financial support becomes a problem. Seedlings are also problems, and even after harvesting, going through thick and thin to produce, marketing is also a problem. But she believes that with the coming in of this program, is going to be of a great help to her and other farmers in her area.
Well, thank you. We'll leave it here. Michael Infum Sapon is our Bono Afro regional correspondent, giving us an update on the president's arrival in Gosu to launch the Planting for Food and Jobs program by his administration. You're watching GH1 television. This is Newsroom, and I am Kimini Amano. Let's go over our top stories again. Three-week Galamsey and ultimatum expires today. And government launches Planting for Food and Jobs program in Gosu in the Bono Afro region, where over 200,000 farmers will benefit from the pilot program. To come here on Newsroom, Bretton Woods institutions review upward global economic growth to 3.5. In sports, Cristiano Ronaldo scores his 100th Champions League goal. On the foreign front, UK Parliament to vote on decision by Prime Minister Theresa May for snap elections on June 8. Well, in other news, Imani Ghana has released a 45-minute documentary highlighting critical areas of the economy while assessing key government policies, offering alternative policy advice to stabilize the economy and to promote growth. Key among the areas highlighted in this documentary include energy, Galamsey, and the economy.
Imani Ghana argued that the best way to stabilize the economy is for governments to address fiscal imbalance, to curb government unguided borrowing. They also called on government to cut down waste, deficit, block leakages and tax evasions, as well as minimize domestic borrowing to improve the fortunes of the country.
In the short term, what is causing the steady instability is the fiscal imbalance we are having. The deficits have been so high, and if the deficit is high, we tend to borrow. So domestically, you will be competing with the private sector. Internationally, there's interest payment that you need foreign currencies to service your debt. All these things bring the instability.
The group also recommended the listing of GHOne and VRA on the stock exchange as key to resolving the energy crisis in Ghana. They also called for the renegotiation of the Ameri deal as the cost involved is on the high side and does not favor end users. In order to cut down on tariffs, Imani Ghana is also advocating for the use of natural gas as crude is more expensive. The policy think tank also advised government to espouse the use of competitive bidding during power negotiations to beat down the cost while investing more in renewable energy.
To renegotiate some of the contracts we signed. Some of them are very expensive, so government should take steps to renegotiate them. That is one. Two, whenever we sign contract, we normally give them what we call provisional licenses, and at times we give you 2 years to maybe put your plans down. There are companies we signed agreement with them as far back as about 6 years ago, and they're still not operating. So we have to also meet said companies and review. That one will reduce the excess capacity.
According to the president of Imani Ghana, Franklin Kujo, the best way to resolve the Galamsey menace is to decentralize the mining laws and involve the locals to understand the advantages and disadvantages of mining operations on their lives while making it a meaningful livelihood for local indigents.
All over the world where there have been issues of this kind, the best way they've been solved has been the involvement of the locals in the solution. And by involvement of locals, I do not necessarily mean that in stopping Galamsey, you need to involve locals. In actually making it a livelihood, a meaningful livelihood, you involve the locals.
In assessing the president's 100 days in office, the honorary vice president of Imani Ghana, Bright Simmons, indicated that whereas some of the government's decisions have been very encouraging, others are still bereft of hope for the country's future.
I've been disappointed in a number of areas and encouraging others. I've been disappointed in the fact that some of the practices of government hasn't changed. We have a lot of instances where, a lot of government policy direction is determined from random interviews all over the place, as opposed to a well laid out green paper that schematically, outlines the government's direction. So if it's energy policy, rather than just random, PR publications and the rest, we set out a very clear policy paper that shows the direction. People like us can also criticize and make contributions. I'll prefer that more.
Now, former Deputy Minister of Information, Felix Ofosu-Kwakye, has discounted some achievements made by the President Akufo-Addo-led administration in his first 100 days in office. He spoke with Nana Banamo on State of Affairs.
We heard the Vice President clearly state that he was going to speak about 103 achievements. I'm not sure what context the Vice President provided to warrant the sort of justification that he's providing now. When the man recited those 100 things, he was speaking about things that they have achieved. And it was surprising listening to him speak at some of the things. For instance, he counted the recommencement of Air France flights from Paris to Accra as one of the achievements. Nanaba, viewers can Google today and find that as far back as 8 August 2016, Air France put out a notification that they will be commencing flights from Paris to Accra effective 28 February 2017. How does the Vice President count this as an achievement of the MPP?
Environment.
Again, the Vice President said that a new sulfur content policy has been introduced by the MPP government, and it's an achievement. We all know that on 4th October 2016, Mr. Moses Asaga of the MPA put out this announcement that effective January 2017, we are going to have a new policy on sulfur content. Again, how is it possible for the Vice President to tell us that financial clearance that was given to nurses, some category of health professionals, which date back or even predate the elections, which they stalled in January 2017, to only reinstate recently, counts as an achievement of the MPP government? The National Service Allowance, you recall that when President Mahama, or when we put out an announcement in early January 2017, that National Service allowances have been increased, the President came under a barrage of attacks from the MPP and some of their friends in civil society. We were told that the President was imperiling the government of President Akufo-Addo and that we were sabotaging because we knew that it would be difficult to raise resources to pay, and yet we are doing this. Today, the MPP says it is an achievement.
The Minister of Health, Kweku Agyeman-Manu, has called for the enhancement of advocacy programs to educate expectant mothers on how to take care of their newborn babies. According to him, it will help reduce the rate of maternal mortality in the country.
The health minister, who is also the member of parliament for Doma Central, made the statement during the national launch of newborn care campaign in Doma Hinko.
This type of event is an advocacy event where the ministry, Ghana Health Service, have teamed up with civil society they've selected some particular individuals, they call them newborn champions, to do advocacy around the country, trying to advise mothers and potential mothers as to how they should care for newborn babies.
The spokesperson for Champions, a health advocacy group fighting against newborn deaths, Nana GHOne, noted the group is embarking on a campaign to encourage expectant mothers to visit health centers regularly during their pregnancy.
Our advocacy goes straight to mothers and will-be mothers before we are even looking at the babies. We are looking at will-be mothers who should take care of themselves and the babies they are carrying before the babies are even born.
Queen Mother of the Doma traditional area, Odenehu Akosua Fima Dwabing, lauded Nana GHOne, who is a native of the land, for the initiative. She also urged mothers to take good care of their wards in order not to lose them in unfortunate circumstances because they are the future generation of the country.
Farmers at Inchinchini, a rural community in the Kwewu South district of the eastern region, have expressed reservations about the lack of irrigation facilities to grow their crops. Checks by the GHOne News team indicates that the farmers have to spend close to 500 cedis every week to purchase water in order to irrigate their farms.
50-year-old Abena Fusia has been farming for more than 30 years, yet she has nothing to show for her hard work.
I had the person will be at Wapiano. Let's just say, or waji. Until a bono be into me in a falcon. A high saying, Kiyan to say, a born big giraffe. And now Senka will be a free baby a banana, ye no digger, on the funny man the court. And ye tem be a noon babuayen. As I say, we bar, no be money bonk, we bar, no be money bonk.
Relying on the rains to grow her crops means unpredictable yield and in some cases poor harvest, hence her decision to resort to buying water for irrigation.
While some farmers in other parts of the country are willing to stop farming to join illegal miners, even though they have water in abundance, farmers here at Inchinchini do not have water, so they always have to depend on water brought from Adoso or their farm plains. They buy them just to irrigate their farmlands.
I told you, Ansani Abu Sprino. I turn off all the from the deba. Tank no 100,000. So I'm told the other say, you need baby.
Abena Fusia is not the only farmer spending so much on water for irrigation. Many farmers in the locality share similar fate. Even on days when the rains have been favorable, post-harvest losses are still high due to the presence of pests that continue to destroy the farms of residents.
And I feel so a bit me April and son. Jamaican Edding. The basin soon I say, oh, for so one for so one.
The main cash crops grown in this community are groundnuts and maize, and during harvest season, farmers here, aside contending with pests that destroy their farm produce, also have to deal with the challenge of transporting their farm produce to the markets. Hiring a taxi seems to be the only solution to residents, but it comes at a rather high cost. Many farmers in Inchinchini cannot grow and harvest large quantities of groundnuts and maize as was done in the past, making livelihood in the town difficult. It takes more than 7 minutes and a lot of human effort to get a basin full of water from the only functional borehole in the community. A more convenient way of getting water in this community means a journey of 30 minutes to the stream. Residents say they have been neglected by authorities and want government to urgently
has disclosed that she will ensure that the law deals with any parent who forces his or her child into early marriage. The minister makes the comment as part of a 2-day working visit to the Upper West region.
As part of her visit, Otiko Afisa Jaba paid a courtesy call on the Wana Fuseni Pelpo IV, where she reiterated government's desire to develop every part of the country. In a meeting with various women's groups in Wa, Otiko Jaba said she will ensure the law deals with any parent who forces his or her child into early marriage.
As queen mothers, generally, custodians of the land, really, because poor manure Kadu were a fine, they were Kapo Chibe, but they always forget about us.
The gender minister also addressed a dissemination workshop on the Ghana National Household Registry in the region.
You're watching Newsroom live on GHOne television. The program returns shortly. Don't go away.
I am a legend. He is a legend. And he is a legend. And he is a legend. I am a legend. We are legends.
In the midst of legends, I am the host. My understanding of the game is better enhanced as we speak football on GHOne television. Catch us every Friday for 90 minutes of fun-filled discussions right here on this network.
All who never know them are gonna know.
Yo, you don't know the thing, man. A deep and splash, so you know. Dip it and splash it. Make sure you roll out, make sure you come through. And don't say, you don't know. All the Stoneboy fans, make sure you roll out. I'm just endorsing it. Deep and splash, you don't know. Up, can't cool. Boy,
Surgery demystified.
Fibroids are usually non-cancerous growths.
Now my name is Samuel Fibro. So I was rather giving them pressure to take me.
Descended testes means that the testes never descended down into the scrotum.
The most educative health show.
I'm an orthodox practitioner, and as far as we know, supported by research, there is no drug now currently in existence that will melt fibroid.
Informative and awareness of your health.
We bring the theater virtually into your home.
The OR Show.
Yo, this is Skip Rich representing for Dancehall. It's your girl, make it down, and say, yo, Dancehall direct with Mr. Logics to the world. I do know
How does your first wife feel? Me just keep it real.
Them all like looks too and thing, and then your vibe too.
Yeah.
Don't sell yourself short. Remember your morals and your values.
I love Mr. Logics. I don't know dancehall, do it. Keep it tuned to your ears. Mr. Logic, see there?
When we have flash we dash water, put up the wire so we don't move on the pond.
I had for 2 months. Building in this country is
so difficult?
Don't worry, the National Investment Bank We Pay for Your Dream scheme can help you finance your building project.
Listen, NIB gave me cement, iron rods, roofing sheets, and other materials to finish my building.
NIB can also help you purchase your home appliances, your mobile phones, and your motorbikes.
You don't even need to have an NIB account to benefit from the NIB We Pay for Your Dream scheme. No.
Just visit any NIB branch with a valid national photo ID card. And the best part is, all purchased products are at no interest.
Call NIB now on 050-145-1050.
National Investment Bank. Your business is our business.
Welcome back to Newsroom. Let's do some business news now. It's day 2 of the 2017 World Bank IMF Spring Meetings in Washington, D.C. The event, scheduled from April 18 to April 23, is expected to host thousands of people from government, civil society, academia, media, financial institutions, and generally the private sector to discuss issues bordering on global economic growth and development.
At the opening of the meeting on Tuesday, Economic Counselor and Director of Research Department at the IMF, Maurice Obstfeld, projected that the world economy will grow at a pace of 3.5% in 2017, up from 3.1% last year and 3.8% in 2018. The growth, he said, will be broad-based across advanced, emerging and low-income economies with focus on manufacturing and trade. He added that this year's projection is higher compared to last year because of good economic news from Europe and Asia and expected high growth in the United States. However, in the Middle East, Africa and Latin America, there will be continued struggles with growth rates this year because of the challenges with commodity exports, civil unrest and adverse weather conditions. Ghana's economic team is expected to hold meetings with the World Bank President James Yong Kim and IMF Managing Director Christine Lagarde on important policy and governance issues and Ghana's prospects for economic recovery. They will also engage in bilateral and multilateral meetings with partner countries, financial institutions, investors, and the private sector on investment opportunities in Ghana.
Let's join EIB correspondent Famous Atitobe at the spring meetings in D.C. Who'll bring us up to speed happenings for today. Hello, Famous.
Hi, Kamini.
Before you give us the program lineup for today, share with us why the Bretton Woods institutions reviewed global economic growth from 3.1 to 3.5.
Like I said earlier yesterday, it's because of some good reports that they received from the United
Famous,
States.
we can't hear you. If you could speak up.
Like I reported yesterday, the Bretton Woods institutions have made projections that this year there's going to be favorable economic growth in the United States, and also because of some trends on the global markets, especially with trade and manufacturing within developing nations. Yes.
But what does today look like for the second day of the meetings?
As you can see behind me, there's currently work ongoing. There is a lot of media presence that's set up towards the Global Financial Stability Report that's just about taking place. And there will be some interesting speakers addressing the media. Later in the day at 11 o'clock, we also have Christine Lagarde, who's the IMF Managing Director, who will be moderating a panel discussion issues on development about economies and emerging markets. Later at 3 p.m., we'll also have a session by the World Bank President. We'll also be talking about the World Bank President and then the UNICEF CEO, who would also be discussing issues about children's rights and how these issues relate to development in global economies.
I see whatever here. We'll come back to you later broadcast for updates on this morning's news briefing. Thank you very much. Famous Atitogwi is an EIB correspondent at the spring meetings in Washington, D.C. We'll bring you more from there in subsequent broadcasts on Business Brief on News Tonight. Up next is sports here on Newsroom.
Cristiano Ronaldo scored his 100th Champions League goal as Real Madrid dumped the 10-man Bayern Munich out of the competition with a 4-2 win. Ronaldo's second goal was offside as Bayern reeled their luck. Cristiano Ronaldo's hat-trick helped Real Madrid battle past the 10-man Bayern Munich and into the Champions League semi-finals with a 4-2 extra-time win to secure a 6-3 aggregate triumph in an epic encounter at the Bernabeu, needing to score at least twice to go through after a 2-1 defeat in the first leg of the quarterfinals tie. Bayern struck the first blow on Tuesday night with Robert Lewandowski's penalty shortly after half-time and Ramos' own goal, then set the game into extra time after Ronaldo had leveled the night for Real. Still on the Champions League, Barcelona will need to hit at least 5 goals past Juventus to produce another Miracles Champions League comeback, but have nothing to lose according to outgoing coach Luis Enrique. The Catalans made a Champions League history by overcoming a 4-0 first leg deficit to beat PSG 6-1 in the last round, but have another mountain to climb at the Camp Nou on Wednesday as they trail their quarterfinals tie 3-0. Enrique foresaw Barca's recovery in the last 16th, claiming an attack laced with the potential of Lionel Messi, Suarez and Neymar was capable of scoring 6 against the French champions.
Let's bring you news making rounds around the world in International Brief. Well, our first stop is in the United Kingdom, where British Prime Minister Theresa May has announced her intention to pursue snap elections for June 8 in a bid to shore up support for her vision for the UK's future. This announcement was made yesterday and has been received as shock news for many. The British Premier said she would seek to formalise the general election process in Parliament today, where she will need the approval of 2/3 of the country's Parliament. May has also criticised the opposition parties for challenging her government's vision for the UK's departure from the EU. Meanwhile, the country's opposition Labour Party's leader, Jeremy Corbyn, welcomed May's decision, saying the Labour Party will be offering the country an effective alternative.
Basically, other parties unaware. And another school of thought is that, you know, she's being very systematic. She knows that Tories at the moment, when you look at the polls, it looks like Tories are going to wipe out and, you know, be in the lead. Because not if it's like Jeremy Corbyn, everybody's not ready. So it looks like she has a good chance of actually winning the election.
What are the likelihoods that she could get the quorum she needs to be able to have the snap elections actually take place on June 8th?
I think it's about 80% that she will. I think that, you know, I think it will happen. Even though it was announced yesterday, I'm sure that this is something that's been going on the back of her mind for a little while. So she's put it out there, and I'm sure that, you know, people will vote for it, and I'm sure that 80% of people will. It will happen on June 8th.
What are ordinary citizens' discussions around the snap elections?
Like I said, people are shocked. People don't know what to do. The thing is whether, you know, which leader do you want to go for? Do you want to go for Jeremy Corbyn, who says that he's going to go with Brexit anyway? Or do you want to stick with Theresa May, who's, you know, gone further into the Brexit at the moment? You know, she's been talking to people about it, and she looks like she knows what she's going to be doing, or do you give it to a whole new other person who wasn't supportive of Brexit in the first place? You know, so it's a bit of a tricky situation at the moment. So it could go either way. I mean, it could bite back at Theresa May, could backfire, and then she'll probably resign like David Cameron.
Will the SNP's abstinence from the vote today affect, you know, the 2/3 quorum she needs to have the snap elections held?
I think her main reason for this snap election is to settle on the Brexit matter. That is the direction. That is the sense of direction, and she needs the vote. She needs the vote to be able to, you know, make her decisions in whatever she wants to do. So, whatever it takes for her to win, I think she's going to be doing that.
Very well, thank you very much. Denta Amwate is a UK-based broadcast journalist. She's been giving us an update on the snap elections vote that is to take place today in UK's House of Commons. It will determine whether or not the snap elections will be held, as announced by Premier Theresa May on June 8th. We'll keep an eye on the story, bring you more in subsequent broadcasts as fallouts begin to emerge on this development. But that'll be it for International Brief. And, well, before we go, a look again at our top stories. Three-week Galamsey ultimatum expires today as Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners round up over 500 excavators from illegal mining sites. Government soon to launch planting for food and jobs later today in Goso in the Bonafu region, where over 200,000 farmers will benefit from the pilot process. In Washington, D.C., the Bretton Woods institutions have reviewed upward global economic growth to 3.5 at the 2017 spring meetings. In sports, Cristiano Ronaldo scored his 100th Champions League goal. UK Parliament to vote on decision by Prime Minister Theresa May for snap elections on June 8. It's a wrap for today's edition of Newsroom. We are back at 7 p.m. with News Tonight. My name is Kemini Amano. Thanks for your company.
This is High School Click, Ghana's #1 television